The topic today we're going to share together is Hebrew perspective on learning. For this purpose, I want to show you one Hebrew Jewish traditional educational method by the name Havruta. The meaning of Havruta or the function of Havruta is discovered later in this lecture. So with this subject together, also we will find out Talmudic background of Torah study. First, here you can see two different posters. So one is 하브루타 교수법 강사 양성 과정 and 하브루타 토론교보 발령법. Means, and these days wherever you go, you can find out all these kind of posters on the street or on the board at the universities, educational department, and means 하브루타 교수법 means the method of 하브루타. For this purpose, there are institutes or institutions to train the teachers. So this poster means the course for teachers, how to use the Havruta method, Havruta educational method. It's very familiar in Korea, this kind of pictures. Even though the people in this photo they don't look like Korean, but for Koreans, this kind of photos are very familiar, because whenever they heard Havruta, immediately they can have one image. People are sitting together and discussing together and something, learning together. So people, they don't know exact meaning of Havruta, but they can guess or they can assume, oh, Havruta means something doing together. It's that much they are already learned about Havruta at some point. Yeah, here you see another poster for the the teacher training course. Also here in this course, they also emphasize about the Havruta method. So it means whoever wants to be teacher, you come here, learn, especially Havruta, then makes you the best teacher. This poster encourage with that messages. So if you register to one of those posters, you are already in a group and sitting with one or two persons, and they practice how to read or how to study together in Havruta ways. Because there are so many Havruta institute or institutions, and still they are being burning. Also today, also yesterday, maybe tomorrow. So now, even there is a Korean Havruta Association. It's amazing, isn't it? So now today, I want to discuss with you or focus, especially from the concept of Havruta. Even though the sound is very familiar, Havruta, or even we used to say about Havruta, but if you are asked what is real Havruta, we need to wait to think ourselves to find out the real meaning. So here, let me show what is the literary meaning of Havruta. It means learning in pairs. See, Jewish people seldom study Bible alone. It's very traditional. Whenever Jewish people wants to study Bible or some biblical text, they usually sit together with someone else. Can be with the father, can be with the teacher, can be with some friends, fellow. That's very, very from the beginning. Jews are used to study Bible, especially the Bible text, together in pairs. The modern emphasis on peer-guided text study, an approach with ancient roots, reflects new social realities in the world of traditional Jewish learning. You can say this. So this feminine in nowadays, the Havruta is very popular, not only in Israel, but also in the world, especially in Korea. Whoever wants to have the best method of educational, technology or educational method, they are rushing to learn about Havruta. But this Havruta is based on very, very ancient learning, which is from the Bible study learning. See? So we can slowly, the background of this Havruta, we can discover together. I want to show you one photo. See? It looks like tea room or movie, cinema room. What do you think? Yes, it's something like a library, something like a classroom, right? But each one of them, they have their own, business. They are, focusing on their, book, which they are holding. In Hebrew, classroom means midrash, especially Bet Midrash, we can call it. Maybe you know Bethlehem, right? In Korean, Bethlehem. Bethlehem is Beit plus Lechem. Two different words were composed. Bethlehem. Bethlehem means bread house. Bet means house. So the same word, Bet, Midrash, Bet, house. For what? Midrash. Midrash means learning. So Beit Midrash is learning house, house of learning. Yeah, library, you can call it as well. So this is the look like library, or how look like a house of learning. Yeah, the camera zoomed for 3 men in this room. They are not sitting by themselves. Now they are sitting together and they are they are pointing at one special textbook together. This is very naturally, they are studying and they are reading the text. You see another couple of 2 students, they are more focusing, they are discussing one verses or one chapters of the book. Let's go back to Midrash room, the house of learning. You can see, usually when you imagine the library in our school or in our country, it should be very quiet and people are sitting very individual, space. But here in the Midrash house, they are sitting very naturally and sitting closely, and sometimes as a group. So let's don't forget why they are sitting there. The purpose, the first purpose is learning and reading the same book, biblical book. Include Bible or Talmud or whatever the religious book. They want to read together, they want to study together. Okay, so now let's go out to the street from library. When you go to Israel, very often you can face these kind of cars in the street. A very nice car, but this car has something special on the roof. On this car, there is a small box, and on that box written Lamed, Hebrew letter. See? You can see it here, Lamed. I write down here, Lamed for you. Yeah, this is one of Hebrew letters, and we can call it Lamed. Lamed, remember please, Lamed. Today, our topic has very special meaning with the letter Lamed. Why? You will see. First of all, the car has small box on the top written Lamed. So the Lamed, what was the Lamed? The Lamed was initial of a special word. Which word? Lilmod. Lilmod. The small box on the car has the small written letter, and that letter is a capital of this word, Lilmod. Lilmod, you can call it Lilmod. And the meaning is to learn and to study or to practice. So now you can guess, aha, why this car has the small box written Lamed? It means this car is a car for the new driver to practice driving. So whenever you see this kind of car on the street, you should be careful from the car because the car driver is still new learner. So now you see Lamed, the letter, Hebrew letter Lamed means capital of one word, Lilmod, to learn, to study. Regarding with this word, I want to introduce some other words as well. You see, first, we just learn Lilmod, right? Lilmod. The car driver has a car, little box on the car, on the roof of car, written Hebrew Lamed. This Lamed, right? And the meaning was learn, practice, or study. Same letter, Lamed, goes another different words. First, Lilmod. This word, Lilmod. Lilmod means, Lelamed. Lelamed. Lelamed means to teach. To teach. The second word, Lilmod, we first learn, and the second word, Lilmod. Lilmod, and the first word, Lelamed, to teach. And another word I want to show you, Talmid. Talmid. Talmid means student, learner. Now, can you guess what is relations between Lelamed, Lilmod, and Talmid? It sounds familiar, right? All those words are similar to us with the sound, but not just that. Hebrew language, we call it Hebrew, just Hebrew. Korean language you can call, right? The Hebrew language you can Hebrew. Hebrew has very special meaning of the word. Each Hebrew word each Hebrew word is composed with consonant and vowels, especially 3 main consonants of one word decide the meaning of the word. For example, the first letter of this word, lelamed. In this word, the 3 main consonant is lamed, lamed, mem. Lamed, mem. We call it shoresh in Hebrew. In English, maybe it can be translated into root. These 3 roots, or these 3 consonants, decide the meaning of this word, lelamed. What is this? Teach. The second word, lilmod. Lilmod also has 3 main consonants as a root of this word. Let's see. Lamed, mem, dalet. Lamed. Sorry, the first word also. Lamed, mem, dalet. Lamed, mem, dalet. Lamed, mem, dalet has power to decide of this word, to learn. Last, the third word, talmid. Talmid also has 3 main consonants, which is lamed, mem, dalet. And the meaning is student or learner. Now you realize all different 3 words. The first to teach, second to learn, and third student. Lelamed, lilmod, talmid. All 3 are all different sound and they have different meanings. But we can see they have some point in common. With what? With shoresh. First word also has shoresh, lamed, mem. Second word also, lamed, mem, dalet. Third word also is lamed, mem, dalet. All these 3 words are with the same roots, lamed, mem, dalet. So how can we explain about this fact? Let's go back to the character of Hebrew language. In Hebrew, if you are share with the roots with some other languages, even though some other languages are verb or noun, you are different group, but if they have same roots, it means some points they are in share with meanings. Let's sum up. With the 3 languages, with the 3 words, we just see to teach, lelamed, to learn, lilmod, student, talmid. They are all individual words, but because they have same roots, lamed, mem, dalet, we can expect some point they are sharing meaning. Student share with to teach, student share with to learn. Now you see how beautiful in these relations between these words. So finally we can talk about Talmud. 여러분, people, you know what is Talmud. When you go to bookstore like a Gyobo, there are big sections of Talmud. But actually, we know Talmud, very small part of Talmud are introduced in Korea. Talmud has more big portions than our expectation. What is Talmud? Talmud looks like this. And this portion is about Mishnah. Mishnah. These sides are actually Gemara. So as you see, Talmud is composed with Mishnah and Gemaras. Then what is Mishnah? You remember when Moses was on the mountain with God, the mountain of Sinai, God gave him the tabernacles. And Moses was staying there about 40 days and nights. And when he came back to the, people who was waiting for him, the Jewish people, he delivered to the 10 tabernacles. And also he was sitting there with the elders of Jewish people, explained about the law, what he learned from God. It was an oral law, we can call it. The written law is tabernacles, but Moses also delivered from God to the Jewish people the oral law, but he had learned from God. So Mishnah is originally from the oral law, from Moses. And for many years, generation by generation, Mishnah was delivered to the second or next generations. At some point, around the 2nd century, it decided to be written down. So that is Mishnah. The Mishnah is very difficult also. It has very long story by traditional way, the oral tradition. So whenever someone wants to read Mishnah, they need explanation. So Gemara is the explanation of Mishnah. For example, about Rabbi who is mentioned in the Mishnah. Which Rabbi? Which century he had lived? What was his topic? Mishnah itself doesn't have details of the information. But for the Mishnah, there are many Gemara, many different explanation as information to read the search text more detail. So let's go back to Talmud. What is Talmud? Talmud is not just a book for wisdom. Talmud has so many different subjects about law, about the 10 commandments, about the living life, about everything. And those Mishnah plus Gemara together we can call Talmud. So now again, we go back this 3 words plus Talmud. Interestingly, 3 words and Talmud has same root. Talmud also here you see Lamed, Mem, Dalet. It means all these are alone, they have their own meaning to teach, to learn, and student and Talmud. But same time, we can guess they are something in common. See, in Jewish mind, Talmud, here, Talmud, students can also learn. At the same time, students can also teach. It's teacher. Teacher can teach, right? But teacher also same time can learn from his or from her students. So in Jewish mind, you are teacher, at the same time you are students. So Havruta has the shorish, Havruta has background, why they are sitting together, why they don't study by alone. It means it's like the Hebrew language gives us the insight, learning or studying, especially the biblical text. We must be sitting together. That's why we can give insight and get information each other, one another. That all the ideas are found in Talmud. When you open the Talmud, it's amazing. There are teachers, there are students. They are asking and answering it, together. But there are no one special answer. There's no decision for answers. Student A come to teacher with a question, and the teacher answered him. But the second teacher who is sitting next to him brings his own idea. Maybe, yeah, you are right, but I think we can, different ways to find out the way. And another third teacher, so joined with them, and he opened his own idea. And the first student who was sitting there with three teachers, between their discussions and also his own discussion, all of them now becoming, they are teachers, or at the same time they are students. That is how the Jewish study, looks like. That is Havruta. So Havruta is not just something training the functions for the best functions, or get the best test technology or method for effective education. That's not the real meaning of Havruta. Havruta means very, very much the biblical base, learning together and find insight together and flourish together as well. So let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 7. Deuteronomy is the fifth book of Old Testament. As a Christianity, we call Old Testament, but for Jewish people, it's Hebrew Bible, Tanakh. So Deuteronomy is the first group of Tanakh, Torah. And in Torah, the Deuteronomy is the fifth book. In this book, Moses write down like this: remember days of old, consider the generations long past. Ask your father, and he will tell you, your elders, and they will explain to you. You see, Deuteronomy, in this text, someone is telling, or someone is ordering, remember the days of old and consider the generations long past. Then second order, you can see, ask your father and he will tell you, your elders, ask your elders and they will explain to you. This is very first of the education system is introduced us. Here, there is someone, should be someone who is remembering and who is asking. See, if you ask, and to whom this one should ask his father. And then his father, he will tell you. 여러분, education starts with questioning. If someone doesn't have idea or desire to know what is this, what is that, if someone is not interested in anything, the education doesn't start. But kids are very curious. They ask, what is this? What is this? If a father comes into the room, who are you? And people start answering the baby. Yeah, this is father, and this is pencil, this is hand, this is noon. With asking, answering comes, and it satisfies the asking person. Yeah, so this is the education, the first basic education, where the education starts. So the book of Deuteronomy introduces us from where asking should start. In this very short verse, we can guess it's between child and parents. Or mother, right? Yeah. If you ask, he told the children, if you ask your father or mother or your elders, ask, and they will explain, and they will tell you. So in this verse, tell us education starts at home between children and parents. Who is the teacher? Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 9. Only be careful and watch yourselves closely so that you do not forget the things your eyes have seen, or let them fade from your hearts as long as you live. Teach them to your children and to their children after them. Also here, the order goes for parents. The duty of parents is to teach their children. Whatever they learn, whatever they see, whatever they explain, all this information goes from parents to children, to their children after children, generation by generation. This is education. In this first education, the first educator or first teacher is introduced in the book of Deuteronomy, who is parents, who is father. We can see also the Proverbs in the book of Old Testament, the Proverbs chapter 3. My son, do not forget my teaching, but keep my commands in your hearts, for they will prolong your life many years and bring you peace and prosperity. Here, the wisdom book, the Proverbs, also encourage parents to teach their children, to teach their son and daughter. So now we are looking for the best educational method, Havruta, from this institute to other institute, and they are spending lots of money, learning more practical Havruta. All people are rushing for that, but the Bible, the very origin of Havruta, tell us very quietly you should be first teacher at home. Your parents, your mother, your father, you should be first teacher for your children. Also children in house, you ask and they will answer you and they will explain to you. At the same time, the Bible verses or the verses from Talmud encourage us with insights, with Hebrew language. When one teach, he can also learn. When someone learn, he can also teach. This is Hebrew way of learning. This is Havruta. This is all Havruta. So who is the teacher? Lastly, I want to read with you one verse from Talmud, Kiddushin. Father has duties for his son, to give circumcision, to teach Torah, to find a wife for him, and to teach skills. The Talmud tells us about the duty of parents, not just provide some material things for his children to survive this world, but at the same time, the main focus of teaching is to teach Torah. So now, practically, how they teach, how they practice these orders, this commandment from Bible, the Jewish people, how they practice, I wanna show you. For them, house is very special place. It doesn't matter how many spare of house, how many beautiful house they have. It doesn't matter. If they are together, sitting together, it's their home. And this home has first function is worshiping God. Not just resting, not just gathering together to see faces, but the first function of home in Jewish mind is worship. It's praise God, thank God. Everything is from Him. Everything is because of Him, His protection. That is the place, home, Jewish home. Especially this kind of ceremony is happening at dining table. Among many dining tables, I want to show you a special dining table. It's a dining for Shabbat. And you see 2 breads and 1 cup, and the wine and flower is beautiful dining table, Shabbat dining table. Yeah, 2 breads, 2 loaves of bread. It's interesting. Why not 1 but 2? When they pray for dinner or for the meal, father starts cutting the bread and sharing for the members in the table. Then suddenly one of the members, it seems like the younger, ask his parents or someone elder in that table, why this Shabbat dinner we have 2 loaves of bread? Because ordinary day we have only 1 bread, but why today 2 bread we need? Then literally one of the members explained the history of the Shabbat bread about the book of Exodus, when they had Exodus from Egypt after 330 years. They were wandering 40 years until they got to the promised land, Canaan. They didn't have land. They didn't have time to plant and wait and get the fruits from the plant, from the field. But every day God gave them manna from the heaven. Every fresh morning, they have fresh meal, especially for Shabbat. For Shabbat is the resting day, just to praise the Lord, to remember His grace. So they didn't have to go out to the field to get manna from heaven, because the sixth day of the week, the day before Shabbat, they could get 2 portions of manna. For one, the fifth, for sixth day, and the other 1 portion is for Shabbat. That's why we have 2 breads of Shabbat bread to remember how gracious of God, how merciful of God, who provide and who protect them all the way of their journey in desert. So that is very, very natural way this new generation learn about the history, about God, about their faith. Here again, you remember how starts this lecture in the dining table. There's no lecture, but it starts asking, and with the asking, naturally he got many live answering from the members of the family. This is Havruta. Havruta is just learning at the institute or school or special meetings. But Havruta starts already from home, from the dining table, from the, which is Hebrew Bible text together. It's very beautiful and it's very, very touching. So let's go back the concept of Havruta together. Let me read this. Learning in pairs, a modern emphasis on peer-guided text study, an approach with ancient roots, reflects new social realities in the world of traditional Jewish learning. Now we have more vivid colors with the word Havruta, right? Havruta starts questioning and gaining answering. Havruta has only one side of questioning and the other side of answering. Havruta can go with together. You can ask, you can cast, you can answer, you can also ask. Okay. In short time, I try to introduce you what is the meaning of Havruta and how Jewish people are still living with Havruta or practicing with Havruta. And I hope through these lectures, we could have some more the deep meaning and very close meaning of Havruta together. Thank you for listening.